Hi, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, morning.
Hi, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I think it depends on where you are in the world, Sheila.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. I have no idea. People watch this all hours of the day. So,
Absolutely true. How
so
are you, by
welcome.
the way?
I'm doing pretty good. I was just going to say welcome to the co-host, Sheila, Whimsy. We are here for your entertainment. And right now, actually, means that you asked how I'm doing. We've been out of water since 6 a.m. this morning because we had a water main break on my street.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
yeah, so I have all the neighbors are sharing their gallons of water because we're hoarders and we hoard water and we hoard food because
Good.
we're Coloradoans, and so everybody
Mhm.
whoever was running low and taking care of the elderly and stuff like that. But yeah, that's kind of what's
Wow.
going on in my.
Now, what I heard that the weather is, I think you've frozen there, Miss Sheila. I think you're going to have to leave us and come back. So I'll just keep talking while you fix that. But, oh, there she goes. She's better now. I heard that a major storm actually was going to be hitting in the Wyoming and Colorado. And I guess, do you know anything about that, Sheila?
Yeah, we do, and that's probably what's going to happen with my feed is because we have been having a whole bunch of heavy winds blowing the storm in. We're getting reports that we're going to probably have between 7 and 12 inches, which some places are going to get up to 2 to 3 feet of snow here, and then where it's going to like central. It's like going to stall out over kind of like Colorado, the panhandle or the top part of Texas, and and things like that. It's just going to be great, big, huge, and so yeah, we have, and they keep on claiming that it's
If
going to
I
be
were
the
you, I
biggest.
would close a couple windows because you keep getting knocked out. And let's see if we can't maximize your screen a little bit because it is getting a little crazy there. So if I were you, I would close some stuff out. But while you're doing that, I'll go ahead and get us started. Would you like me to do that for you, Miss Sheila? I think she would. She has given me the floor. For those people who have just joined us, this is the remote view. I've got to show you my new flowers. See, this is what I wanted to show everybody who decided to join us today. Spring is here. Spring is totally here in Portland. It's a beautiful spring day. I'm absolutely loving it. And I went out and I got myself some nice tulips. But before we get started, I'm going to go ahead and say hello to everybody who has decided to join us here on the remote view, starting with AQ. Hello, welcome. Kat May is in the house. Renee, welcome.
Starting with AQ.
Electra Storm, hello. Oh, I'm echoing.
Nope, it was me.
Hi, Peggy Decker, Liz Reeves, Nancy Tomchek. Danny's in the house. Hello, Danny from Bathroom Tarot. Maybe we can get him to come back on here, but Don Broadband. We'll keep saying hi to everybody as we go along, but if you haven't done so yet, be sure and share, like, subscribe, and click the bell notification so that you can be notified about all upcoming videos here on Celtic Tarot with Sheila. Back
Absolutely.
to you, Sheila.
Thank you, Whimsy. I enjoy that you do that. For one thing, it's because you can get in there and you can read those names great. I screw them up so badly. So I'm really grateful that you tell everybody welcome and welcome everybody. So everybody in the chat says that they can see me fine. So maybe it's something on your end that is kind of
oh no, I can see you fine. It's just you were buffering a lot.
Right. That's everybody in the chat says that I wasn't buffering. So I just keep that in mind. I don't know what's going on. It could be the storms. I'm telling you, we've had some really. It's definitely going bad here. And so I just wanted to ask. I remember you when you first got into your apartment. You were doing mushrooms. You were the You were the shroom lady. Are you still doing that this summer?
I am the shroom lady. It's one of those things. I now realize why I have a problem with commitment. I have a problem with commitment because I'm somebody who throws myself heart and soul into whatever I'm doing. And so I'm frightened of opening a book because if I study something, I become so engrossed that time ceases. I forget to call back patients. But that's kind of how I feel about studying mushrooms. They're amazing medicines, and they can do everything. Of course, everyone's curious about the psilocybin research that we're going to be doing here in Oregon for depression, PTSD, and that's fascinating. But you also see adjunct therapy for cancer, and so it's just it's a fun hobby, and it's just really amazing. Yeah, so I enjoy it. How about you? How's
Well,
life in Colorado
I'm
other
a
than the snowstorms?
well, we're preparing. We're like we said, we're definitely preparing. So Colorado, I don't do any drugs or I don't drink any alcohol. I don't do any of that. Just no wacky tobacco, none of that. However, they just legalized the crazy shrooms here in Colorado. Of course, we're the state of people who are crazy, but they use the drugs to go crazy, or something. I don't know, but I don't do any of
Oh,
that.
wow.
Yeah. Um, Also, let's see. Do you have any protesting going on because of the George Floyd stuff going on? Because I know that Portland was pretty a hot spot over the summer. Are you guys getting a little bit?
Yeah, we are. Actually, yesterday I took a walk. I really feel like Portland is back. Portland is back. The sun was shining. People were out and about. I made an appointment with the dentist. I felt like it really feels the energy has shifted all over the country, but especially here. But yeah, when I was walking around, there was a massive Black Lives Matter protest that was going on downtown.
I was wondering if it was going to spark all of the hot spots up again, because of them gathering all of the juries. I don't know how many they've gotten through, but they're definitely going through that jury selection methodically, and they're asking a lot of questions, which is good. I pop in every so often to kind of check out and see what's going on, but that's
As a
definitely going
remote
on.
as a remote viewer, have you followed the energy of the trial and come up with a feeling about how it's going to end?
No, not yet. And that was my thing. My mistake from the get go is when I was reading my cards for that day. It came out that he was going to win, and I was like, "What?" Because I've never gotten the full on impression that he was going to win. Like he was going to get off scot free. But my cards came up that way, and I had to go back in and do another video. It was like he did win that day. They asked for one of the charges to be removed, and the judge said yes, so he did win something that day. I don't think the whole energy is there yet because the jury hasn't heard all of the evidence, and neither have we. So I don't think all of that energy is there. It's like it's gathering and it's collecting, and it's I feel some jurors have swayed already one way or the other. So we have there's still a lot of deliberation, and I think that is where I'm following. I keep on following the energy that way. It's like going like this shit. So that's my take on it.
I did try to connect with the killer and the police officer that murdered Mr. Floyd, and I did feel suicidal. I did not feel mentally stable.
Well,
So
come to find out, which I didn't know this either, but his wife filed a divorce because he abused her. There was also another charges that were on him. So he's a known abuser because his wife filed for divorce because of abuse. So it's kind of like we don't know everything just yet.
right.
And I don't feel like like if I had to tell somebody if I think that he was going to get off, I would still go, no, I don't think so. I think there's going to be some sort of penalty, something. He's going to get something. So
Yeah.
there's that. All right. Do you have anything else? I think we have a guest kind of waiting in the
I'm
background.
excited. I heard you're bringing someone special on, and I shiver with anticipation. What do you got for us, Sheila?
His name is Andy. and he has a YouTube channel called Twig Brother, and he does. Oh, Whimsy's freezing. She'll be back. He lives in the UK.
I've got Sheila buffering here.
Yeah, you're buffering as well. So I don't know if it's something that your connection or something that's going wonky. I don't know.
I should be okay here. If I switch, let me go ahead and log out, leave the studio, and come back.
All right, I'll wait for you before I bring Andy on because he's about ready to come on. It wouldn't be Sheila's channel if we didn't have technical problems. I guarantee you that. That's how you know it's mine. I hope everybody is doing beautiful today. Yeah, Whimsy's freezing and kind of buffering and stuff like that. So I hope hopefully she'll get that taken care of. I didn't think I was buffering because I didn't see it on the channel, but oh, is she back? She's back. She's back.
Yeah, I saw you as buffering, but maybe I was buffering. Who knows?
Yeah, I think maybe.
Apologize. This is a new science we got going on here.
It's all right. All right. So, no further ado. I want to introduce you to Andy, and he's going to give us a little bit about himself. So, hang on there, guys. Woo!
Hi, Andy.
Hi, Andy. Andy, so I did give a little bit of what you do. Can you please tell us, where do you live? How long you've been doing this? What exactly do you do on your channel? All that good stuff. Go for it, Andy.
Sure. Well, I'm English, but I live in part of UK called Wales, West Wales, and we've got mad storms blowing out there at the moment. It blew my whole greenhouse away this week. So I totally get that there's storms going on and it's making things difficult. Someone once asked me, how long have you been a medium? And it's mediumship is sort of the main driving energy behind what I do. And someone said, how long have you been a medium? And when I tried to think about that, it went right back to childhood. I can remember being preschool age, I guess, maybe 3, maybe 4. And we used to go to play at this play centre in the town. And there was a stage there, which wasn't really for our use. And some of us used to get up on the stage behind the curtain. The curtains were drawn. And this ball would roll towards us. And we'd roll it back and it'd stop and it'd come back to us. And we just thought this was the greatest hide and seek champion that ever existed because we could never see him. But, all that, it just seemed crazy looking back on it. And then probably about 14 years ago, I met a lady on a dating site who was a medium. And she said she thought I had the gift, and from there, I joined another website, which is sadly gone now. It's run by Michelle Knight, who's a TV medium in UK. And there was a lot of teaching going on there. And this guy taught me a lot, actually. And that's what really made me believe that I could actually read cards in a meaningful way. And I've sort of, through that, I've realized I've always been like that, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate. You can't help thinking you're going mad until you find out what it is actually that's going on. So everything I do really comes back to that. I think a lot of us find that life has prepared us for this when we actually start coming into mediumship and start doing it. We tend to find that we've had experiences in the past that were all on the pathway to actually doing this. And I've been all kinds of things. I was a church organist from about the age of 10, and had all sorts of things that seemed really creepy to me happening in these dark churches where I would practice. So I was sort of used to being in front of people. I've been a radio DJ, so I'm used to talking to people I can't see, or large numbers of people I can see. I've sort of done that. And lots of experiences of life have prepared me, but perhaps nothing more than in my 20s, I wanted to be a priest in the Church of Wales, which is part of the Church of England, really, the Anglican Church. And that didn't work out, you know, because I'm sure it wasn't meant to work out. This is what I'm sort of meant to be doing. But that allowed me to learn a lot about what spiritual matters actually mean to people in their real lives. The things that make people want to turn to God or the divine is perhaps a better way of putting it, to find answers and just to find comfort. And that's really where my readings are at, you know. I have the privilege of teaching people sometimes. I've run spiritual circles, and essentially I work in the spiritualist churches, but because of the world situation, they've all been closed for rather a long time now. But sometimes I do services on Zoom for the churches, and that's all about linking to people's relatives, loved ones, you know, people they love who've passed away into the afterlife, and making that connection. That's a massive honor, and I'd love to describe how that works, but I haven't got a clue, actually. It's a complete mystery to me, you know. I think we get to know that when we actually go to the other side. But that's really, you know, that's really where I'm at. I read cards because it's wonderful when you're working at a distance to actually have a way of connecting with someone's energy fairly quickly. And in my live stream videos, which seem to have been quite a success, partly thanks to Sheila, largely thanks to Sheila shouting me out, actually, which is great. And Danny Shea, Bathrobe Tarot, has been a helpful hand there as well. So I'm most grateful. And those live streams, they kind of go off that. I use pendulums sometimes, and nearly always cards, though, to get a connection. And very often we'll find that somebody's family member, or, you know, an old friend, it can be anybody who has a connection to the living person, is actually around them and wanting to come through. And I'm happy to pull cards about absolutely anything, really, you know, because...
fantastic. Yeah.
Now I have a question for Twig. Obviously, you're living in Britain. Are you living in where in Britain do you live right now? Or which part of Britain?
I'm on the West Wales coast, Whimsy.
Oh, beautiful. Now, the big topic here is, in the United States, a lot of people are talking about the British royal family, and we can go ahead and I think the first hot topic is actually racism in the royal family. It's something that everyone is talking about. It's really blown up. We certainly want to get a British perspective on that.
We do.
I mean, I can tell you that it's probably the people get very emotional about this subject. We've had knockdown, drag out fights, I think, here on the remote view about that. But how do you think it's all going to end? Andy, you got any feedback for us about what's going on over there?
We have knockdown, drag out fights. Did I miss something? I'm always missing everything. All right. So, before you answer that, I need to know, how did you come up with Twig Brother?
Oh, right. Well, a
brief description.
Okay. I had this tuning fork and I dropped it in the garden, and I found it about 4 years later. And I just posted a picture of it on a Facebook group that was for like fun advice, joke advice. And I put, bury a tuning fork in your garden and you will completely wreck the tuning fork, you know. And somebody answered that and said, I feel uneasy looking at that. It's almost like a twig has mutated into two twigs. And because you probably know about George Orwell, 1984, that book, Big Brother is Watching You. And there's a TV series here in UK called Big Brother. And so I put Twig Brother is Watching You. And something just clicked in my head. And I thought, hey, that's a good name for my YouTube channel.
Oh, fantastic.
That's what I put. It's a link to a guide as well.
Gotcha. All right. So what is your perspective on the royals and what's going on?
Okay. Try and sort of be gentle with people's feelings here. To be honest, I do feel that it is essentially a white supremacist family. The existing members of that may be more or less into that. And I think we've seen that Harry in particular is really against that, you know, and is obviously much more, you know, and more woke, I suppose you would say. But it always has been that way, you know, and I think what the outcome is actually going to be is that Prince Philip is 99 now. I forget how old the Queen is, but she's really, you know, she's into her 90s. Sadly, you know, because it's sad when anyone passes, the end is going to come for them. And I feel sure that Prince William is really going to take things in a very different direction. I just feel certain, actually, that huge change is going to come. There's no way, really, that people are going to accept Prince William with the same degree of reverence that they accepted Queen Elizabeth II, because so much has changed, you know. And when her mother, the Queen Mother, we call her, she was also Queen Elizabeth, when she passed away at 101, a lot of the old-fashioned influences fell away. Now, I don't know if we're going to end up with something like the Dutch royal family, where, you know, they're all just friends with everybody. I can see there still being a lot of ceremony. And a lot of British people do like it the old way. It's going to take a long time for the British people to expect less of the monarchy. For example, you know, if you've ever been in the armed forces, which I have, I was in the Air Force, it's just totally weird for a British person to think that all that is going to change. But the fact is, it is actually changing. And Prince Charles, when he was with Diana, Princess Diana, and divorced her and ended up with Camilla Parker Bowles, who herself is a divorced lady. Previously, Edward VIII had to resign because he wanted to marry a divorced lady, and he wasn't even, you know,
I remember
divorced
those.
himself.
I mean, I wasn't there, but I remember the stories. Sure. The stories of all of that.
I thought you looked too young for that, Sheila.
Yes, and she was friends with Hitler. You know, I mean, eugenics, which was a pseudoscience that believed that that white people were genetically superior and that aristocrats were genetically superior to poor people. But that all got developed, you know, by the British, by Sir Francis Galton. You know, he was knighted. I mean, the British aristocracy thought eugenics was great. It eventually led to the Holocaust, the forced sterilization of millions of people all over the world, including the United States. So I think this is, you know, we talk about this time in history where the truth is coming out. All the ugly stuff has to be talked about. And I agree with you, Andy, that I think that this is the time that we have to, the ugly truth of the British royal family and how it has benefited from fascism.
You know, as a, you know, I always looked at the royal family as just something like a little girl dreams of, you know, that little girl dream. I remember staying up and watching, because you had to watch it at midnight, watching Princess Diana and Charles marry, and watching the whole fairy tale and stuff like that. And then, you know, once you realize that we're descendants of that, and then we start like, oh, they're our royal family too, and you know, so we kind of take that on. But we do got to move on a little bit. We're definitely time just goes by so dang fast. We're already 30 minutes in. We definitely need to get to some of the remotes. I think I'm going to hand it over to our professional remote viewer, which would be Whimsy. And I know that she has a little bit of remote viewing that she has went over for the last week. So I'm going to have her talk about that, and then we'll get into some blitzes.
Yeah, I mean, what I had added was kind of interesting. I went back and I looked at some of the remote views that I had done on the royal family, and one of the remote views that I had done on the royal family was Queen Elizabeth, and this was documented. People can go back and look at the video I did, Queen Elizabeth Speaks. Now, in that video, she had called Charles, according to the information I got in the remote. She had called Charles and she had been upset, and she had asked Charles to speak to Harry because she didn't want them to leave. So we documented that. I believe it was June 2019. Now it's come out that Harry and his father were not speaking to one another. So I'm assuming what we got information on in the remote was this rift. That was what that must have been about. It's interesting to see how this stuff plays itself out. The other thing that was interesting is that it's now rumored that somebody had said to Harry that they're concerned about the color of the child's skin. What I documented when I went in for Harry was Harry had a conversation with his brother, William. And I think William is honest enough with him, they're brothers, that he'll tell him the truth. So if people in the British aristocracy are secretly having beers together, having Guinnesses and joking about the child's skin color, and William overhears that, William's going to be the first person to go and tell his brother that that's what he heard. So in the remote, Harry had said, it's time for you to stand up for the values that you were raised with. That was the first thing he said. And the other thing that he had said is, you have a real opportunity here. You're now in a position where you actually can do some good. You now have the power. So in the interview with Oprah, I'm assuming that that's what he was talking about, because in the interview with Oprah, Harry had said that he had spoken with Charles and William and said, you have a real opportunity here. So I think that what may have happened was that William told him, but it's not that William was condoning what people were saying, but it definitely led to a rift between the two brothers. And I think this is why Harry said we're not speaking, because his brother had, according to the remote, his brother had a real opportunity to confront the racism and instead did not. And I think that until that gets corrected, I don't see this situation healing itself. The last remote review I did a couple days ago was on Queen Elizabeth I to try and see or Queen Elizabeth II to try and see how she was feeling about all this. And in the remote, she was focused on her husband who is dying. And that really took all of her emotions right now. And so I feel like this is actually inappropriate energetically from the Queen's perspective, in the sense that she's dealing with her husband, who she's been married to for 70 years or 70, 80 years, is dying. And so all the world she's known all of her adult life is coming to an end. So that was where my emotions went. It didn't go into this whole drama. She's a woman who's losing her husband. That's what I felt.
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
Anybody wants to say anything about that, but those were my impressions as a remote viewer.
Thank you very much. I know that the Royals, being that we have Andy on here, we kind of wanted to give him a little bit of a respect on being in the BBC. However, let's get into some blitzes. So there's some people that want to know. I had one. I have some notes here. Some other blitzes.
So did you have anything you wanted to add to what I had said, Andy?
Oh yeah, go for it.
Impressions you got from your remote views or from your energy when you went in? It has to be real fast because we got a time constraint.
We do have a time constraint on that. But if you could just, what do you think about the remote? Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I believe more in remote viewers than I believe in the newspapers. So I'm quite happy that if that's what Whimsy saw, that's what's happening as far as I'm concerned.
Okay. So,
yeah. I mean, they're brothers. The only thing I would say is, William at some point, people are still expecting him to be some kind of king, and so he's bound to avoid getting too publicly into any of it. But I totally agree. They're brothers, and they saw what happened to their mother, and I'm sure she's with them actually. Yeah.
Fantastic. All right, so let's move away from the royal family and let's get into some stuff here in the United States about the Republican Party and them destructing themselves. I think, what do you think about Trump asking the Republicans to stop donating to the RNC and then donate to him? Do you think they actually were doing that? Do you think that they are actually stopped doing that? We can definitely start reading on that and see if that's something.
Again, it goes back to the remotes when he got angry and refused to leave. And we put ourselves in the shoes of Trump. I think Sheila and I had a conversation about this. What did he want? He wanted money. He wants money. So you want me to go out and be a clown or to be your dancing bear to raise money for the Republican Party? You'd better pay me right. He wasn't happy with the percentage of money he was being paid. So now he's saying, give the money directly to me. Mitch McConnell raised $1 billion for the Republican Party, and Trump's PAC only raised a couple million. So the point, look, he's cutting the head off the beast, and he's doing it the only way he knows how, with money. He's squeezing this guy out financially.
Do you want to read on that and see if they're actually giving him the money, or if they're done with Trump? Like, because I want to know if his base is actually going, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. We'll start giving Trump money and stop giving the Republican money. Do you want to read on that? Let's read on that.
Let's look at the future between the Republican Party and Trump, and if he's being squeezed out.
Yep, let's do that. Right. Yep. Hi, everybody in the chat. I've been watching the chat. Greek, I love all of the moderators are here. Thank you very much. Noelle, she's doing a lot of Greek job in there. I watched her. Sharon Sipe, Tawana, Greek TK. Mark is here. Hi, Mark. Definitely hello. I hope everybody is doing great.
Is Mark Rose here? Did you say Mark was here?
Yeah, Mark. I don't know if it's Mark Rose. I don't think it's Mark Rose.
Rose.
But
we gotta wish him a happy birthday.
No, it's another Mark. It's another Mark. I'm pretty sure of it. I have him as a moderator. The chat goes by so fast sometimes. Hi, T Barb. T Barb is also here. Didn't you say that? Let's do this reading, and then we'll get back on track. we went too far with I think the royal families is very interesting and stuff like that. But I was like, oh,
well,
what can we do?
It's about the racism. It's about eugenics.
It is,
because America. I think that a lot of people thought they could get away with it under.
Hi, Autumn.
45, but now 45's gone, and everybody's shaped out of the cray-cray, and so there's consequences now. And a lot of people are going to jail. It was like what you could get away with 45, you're not going to be able to get away with 46.
That's true. You know, the first card that I got up about this is they're moving from calm to turbulence to calm. I think they're not going to give him the money that he wants because they're juggling the finances as it is, trying to figure out who to pay this, pay that, pay that. But I don't think they're going to switch over and pay him. What do you guys got?
Andy, did you want to go next?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm happy to do that. Well, as you know, I'm not in America and I don't understand, so I'm just going with the cards, which never lie, and my spirit guides. First card I got on that is 5 of Pentacles. Okay, so definitely connected with money and everything. And this is making me think, as Alice has been, this is the Alice in Wonderland deck. She's been dragged away from the door here. So it's not just out in the cold, it's actually being dragged away. So justice basically is going to be done. And, he's going to be left out in the cold. Next card, I got 4 of Pentacles. So we're on the money again. And there's a mouse hiding in the teapot, not able to take. If I bring it up real close, there's a bite out of one of those biscuits that the mouse has taken. And now the mouse has run away to hide. So there's some hiding going on, and not just hiding of information, but actually hiding away as well. And then Page of Cups. I thought I'd throw 3 on it. Page of Cups. Basically, I think this means he's going to make up absolutely any old load of old rubbish to try and get away with what's happened. The energy here is, Alice will make the best of this crazy situation. And I think that's what he's actually about. That may mean that he rises again in some way, but certainly the overriding thing there, card number 1 with that, being dragged right away from the money, being dragged right out into the cold to really, it's going to have to be a fresh start, I think. What he's got away with, he won't get away with anymore.
Amen. I see the same exact thing. The relationship is over. The Knight of Pentacles, the stopgap is the karma. Boom. They can only go so far with him. Lovers, they're going another. Look, it was either him or their investors. If you've got multi-million-dollar and billion-dollar companies that are giving money to the Republican Party and they're saying, get rid of this guy, they're going to go with the money. They're not going to go with Trump. So I think, I think that he's losing power. It's like Alec Jones said, I can't stand this guy. They're just done with Trump. And I feel like, look, he's dropped so low now that the best he can hope for energetically in the coming months is local politics.
I agree. So a lot of people also want to know about all of the things that they're doing, like in Georgia and for Arizona, if they're going to get in, how far are they going to get with the voter suppression, trying to put the lawsuits in, trying to make a whole bunch of difficult laws on that. They want to read and see how far they're going to go. Let's look in Georgia first, and then we'll look at Arizona and see if they're going to get far with all of those things.
So we're looking at the Georgia, so we're going to look at Georgia voter suppression or
yeah. The lawsuits, how the Democrats are taking all of these things, not the Democrats, but the Republicans are trying to put in a whole bunch of rules and regulations on suppressing the voter suppression in Georgia. Are they going to get away with it? Are they going? And then we'll go to Arizona.
Okay. While we're in Georgia, maybe we should also check to see if Trump's going to be prosecuted
in Georgia. See how that's going.
Even Lindsey Graham, but let's we'll do that first. Okay. All right.
Let's see what we got.
So just 3-4 cards, right? We're just doing blitzes right now, right?
Yep, just blitzes. Just blitzes. Ooh, I see a tower. They're not going to get far. I do see that the craftsmanship they're teaching them. They're trying to do what they need to do. They're getting up on their pedestal. They're getting in there and trying to tout their story, trying to teach everybody that. But I got the tower. It's like, no, nobody's listening. They're not going to. They find it thing, and they're going to have a judgment over that, like an end, like a new beginning, like new rebirth. Like, this is not how it's going to go anymore. You guys' information is just not what we want it to be anymore. So whoever's next, go ahead, Andy. If you're next.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Andy.
Right. First one I got, 4 of Swords, 4 of Wands. So an event, and it's so important with this card that at the event, everyone has to kind of behave themselves. And particularly in a place like Georgia, and I do have friends, I know people really are into respectability in a big way. So there'll be no shenanigans, or at least if there are any shenanigans, everyone's going to know about it. So that event is there. Then 7 of Swords. Okay, a trickster. Very simple. Don't think I need to explain that too much. There's a trickster involved, and people are going to learn from that trickster. People are actually going to learn. I guess they've learned from tricksters in the past as well. That's the feeling I get with that one. And 9 of Swords. It's an awfully tangled situation, but one at a time, these things are actually going to be resolved. And every time one person gets exposed or one event gets exposed, the next load of bunched up problems are going to be that bit less bunched up. So the truth is going to come out slowly at first, but much more quickly then. And really looks like that's going to be blown wide open. I can't see anybody being able to hide anything in that situation.
Thank you, Andy. What do you got, Whimsy?
Wow, I agree. I think, but it's actually a little bit more serious than that. I keep going back to what happened in the 1960s when federal troops had to go to the South. We're really on the verge of something, whether you attempt voter suppression by physically attacking people, which is what happened in the 60s, or you do it through computers. The bottom line is that both will be viewed as voter suppression by this administration. So by April, we've got the 4th month, the family secrets, right? The negative aspects of the 10 of Pentacles, the dirty little dark family secrets, right? The stuff that they're hiding, the stuff that they're trying to get away with. I see the feds coming in, courts, federal courts. I always see this, just like in the 60s. If you keep this up, you're going to wind up with an audit by the Justice Department. This doesn't even have to go to the Supreme Court. The Justice Department will be on your back. You cannot suppress the right of people to vote in the United States. They put themselves in a horrible situation. Eight of Swords is their outcome. This is bordering on federal voter suppression, which is illegal, and trouble with the Justice Department. And if this kind of thing, what the Justice Department can do, what the feds can do in these types of situations is they can cut federal funds, which is, that's what they did in Utah, and that's what they did in the South. You don't want to let black kids get an education, then you don't need federal money. So it's the same thing. You don't have to get federal funds for handling your voting, etc. We will start. There will be consequences for your actions on a federal level. That's what I see.
Cool. Somebody also wants to know, is Matthew McConaughey going to be, is he running for something in Georgia?
Yeah, there was actually a question about that. Matthew McConaughey is talking about a run for governor of Texas.
Is this true? Is this true, or is it just
true? He evidently, you know how people are. They'll hire a committee to do research and whatnot. Is he I assume he's an independent. I don't see him as a Democrat or a Republican.
Texas governor.
Yeah, he's
not Georgia. Texas governor. Okay, Texas.
That's right.
Texas.
All right, let's see. Let's do a blitz on Matthew McConaughey. That was going to be, by the way, our celebrity hot goss.
Oh.
That's what I had for celebrity. So are we moving?
No, we can definitely hold that and read that later and go to Arizona. We've got other
things going on. For example, people wanted to know whether or not anything was going to come out of the Georgia accusations against Trump. Let's hold the question because we do have at the end celebrity gossip.
All right, so let's do the lawsuit against 45 and Lindsay in Georgia, and then we'll go to Arizona.
Yeah, it's not a lawsuit; it's actually a criminal investigation, and he and Lindsey Graham could both be facing federal charges.
All right, let's see what we got.
Oh, jeez. Oh my God.
Go for it. If whatever you got, go for it.
Lindsey Graham and Donald Trump, when they got involved with trying to steal an election in Georgia, look at this. They put themselves in a situation. The Eight of Swords is when you put yourself in the situation. Look what's coming for them. The courts.
Oh, yes.
Look what the final outcome is. Federal raid.
Yay!
Yeah, they're in very serious trouble. They're going to, and he can be charged as a civilian at this point.
Definitely. Well, I got the same thing. That constant effort with the lovers, and then I got the magicians, them throwing that magic onto whatever they were trying to do, like trying to, as Lindsey Graham, turn up the Southern charm, and 45 do whatever he does. And then I have the lawyers and the professional getting involved in all of that. And I get the end of that was Hangman. Like they have that, that difficult viewpoint. That difficult viewpoint is going to start. They have a speaking point. They don't have anything that says they can get out of this. Like everybody's looking at them going, "Oh, really? That's your story?" Because that's not going to work. That's not going to work. You're right. That's what they got. So, what do you got, Andy?
Well, interesting. Yeah. Plays into a lot to what you were just saying with your card there, Sheila. Six of Cups. So they're actually, what they're hoping is that this whole thing will smooth over and they'll be able to go on getting away with what they've been getting away with in the past, that what they were seeking when they first set out on this course of action is, it's all kind of going to be good. So there's denial there in quite a big way. Nine of Cups, the wish card, and there are a lot of people wishing things on both sides, no doubt, but that's the people in question. I really feel, Six of Cups and the wish, it's just all wistful, it's all up in the air. But then the Hanged Man, number 12, came up. So surrender. They're just, it's going to be resolved in a legal kind of a way. They can't It seems to be a theme of everything I've pulled so far tonight, but they just can't hide. You know, the world has changed. Like we said about the royals, it's people's perception around the world that's changing and making it impossible for people to get away with stuff. So the hanged man isn't going to be hanged for very long. I don't think the situation is going to get liquid. It's going to keep moving, and they can't live in that dream world anymore.
Oh yeah, definitely. I like that we got the hanged man as well. So, Whimsy, go ahead and talk about. You're talking about Rose.
Are we ready to move on to that? That's towards the
I got
end.
ADD so bad today. I don't know what the heck is going on. I'm like,
let me keep it organized. That was one of the last questions. So we'll get to Rose's question last, but the people want to know about the bombing suspect. They're still on the loose. The person who left bombs January 6th. I think it looks like a woman walking. Other people say
it does.
a guy walking. People want to know if it's the woman who's transgender, and that's why people are getting confused, that left the bombs. Could we throw to find out who it is and if this person will be caught?
Yeah, let's definitely do that. I watched the whole thing, and I watched that person walk, and it does look like a feminine walk. But what threw me is when that person sat down and was looking at the camera, like that person knew that camera was on them, and they did like this. Now that's something that women don't do. So that was the only thing that threw me off. Is women don't normally go like this, men do. But the walk was feminine, and I don't know about transgender. I can't imagine a transgender person has enough self-respect to stay out of that kind of a situation.
Yeah, but she was the one saying upstairs, because she knew she was in the Capitol building choreographing things. You know? Are you
talking about Lauren?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my first thought, that Lauren, whatever her name is. Mm-hmm. But also, that other lady is also very short too. Marjorie, she's very short.
It's interesting. The person walking looked like it was a person. It looked like the body of a 40, 50-year-old woman. That's what I got. Well, let's take a look.
Yeah, let's take a look and see what's going on. Who do we think that is? And the thing about that is, men don't normally select such vibrant shoes. You know what I'm saying? Especially a man on, a Republican man. You know what I mean? They're not going to get anything outrageously crazy to wear like that. Marjorie is a bodybuilder and walks a person. It could be her. Okay. If she's a bodybuilder, then that would make sense, the reason why she did that. If she's a bodybuilder, because bodybuilders have to do like that because of their muscles are always getting tensed up.
But
now that would make sense.
But so do menopausal women with frozen shoulder. So
yeah, but that's not a normal thing, though. I mean, I would do that in private. Right. But I would, something like that. I'm like, oh, and I would hold and, be kind of, but that was the only thing that kind of threw me. I was like, oh, that was a little different. But let's see what we got. What do we got as to who it is? Whoever has their cards, go ahead. I'm still shuffling.
Oh, I'll go. This person's already 10 of Swords. Remember when we had gone and done remotes on January 6th? There was some information about a second squad did not show up that was supposed to detonate bombs, and that people had abandoned the plan. Because when you went into the energy, there was a feeling like it was supposed to be more fantastic and more violent than it actually was. This is a card of betrayal. Somebody got stabbed in the back. Whoever this person was, the fact that the bombs didn't get detonated, something's going on, some kind of betrayal. Somebody didn't show up. The second squad didn't show up that was supposed to detonate. So there's a betrayal here, possibly an informant or something happened that sabotaged it. It makes me wonder if everybody is even still alive, or why am I seeing this? Whoever this person was, they were betrayed. A Two of Cups is coming in. I think this person is about to get caught. Somebody's going to inform on them.
Yeah, you know, I'm going to go ahead and go. I know we'll get to Andy. I also got the Nine of Swords, but you know the Nine of Swords also has that overreacting element to it. So a bomb would have been overreacting, right? Doing that. So I'm worrying and suffering and crazy. Marjorie Green is an overreactor. Lauren is an overreactor. So I'm thinking that maybe this Nine of Swords has something to do with describing that crazy overreacting brain that they have been going through. Because I also got the King of Pentacles, which is control, power, and discipline. That loyalist. You know, I'm going to do this for them. I also have the Six of Cups. The Six of Cups is that. You know, that past returning, that reunion. We also have the Seven of Wands defending I mean, this is talking about that person completely. However, the courage to do it. Whoever it is had the courage to do it. I don't see feminine just yet. That's the one thing that I was kind of waiting on, was that feminine. But I still see, I'm still not getting at that Tower, that wanting to cause that grief and power. I mean, that grief, but I'm still not seeing a feminine card. Anybody else got a feminine card about this?
No.
What did you get, Andy?
Well, funnily enough, I got the Ten of Swords. So
all three of us.
So that's pretty conclusive, isn't it? And in this particular picture of the Ten of Swords, we got a person cut up to bits and no blood, and the sun either rising or setting behind a brick wall. And this actually makes me think you were talking about a transgender person. That to me confirms that, you know, because a transgender person is essentially kind of tearing apart everything they were, and certainly going to get stabbed in the back a lot along the way of doing that. And it's bloodless, you know, that's somehow there's not the kind of trail of evidence you would like to hope for with that. Then I got another sword card. I got the Eight of Swords. Again, you know, on the transgender side of things, here she is tied up to the swords. She could wriggle free of that quite easily, but she's not going to. So that makes me think of transsexuality as well. There's a game being played, most definitely, because we can see playing cards. We can see the faces of the playing cards, and it's all up in the air. And the Fool, number 0, the Fool, the Fool's Journey. So this is the beginning of something new, but people are going to be fools if they think they can get away with whatever happened there. You know, I'm sure people will actually be discovered. The forces of truth, the forces of goodness have put this hole right under whoever did this, and they're going to fall into that hole, fall into that trap. That's what I got. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you very clearly, so I'm just kind of guessing. But
you did very
well. That's the 3 cards I got for that question. Thank you.
I just got a hit, like that transgender energy keeps on coming into our conversation. What if she was trying to pretend to be a man? And that's the reason why this gender energy is coming into our psyche. Like, she had to act like she was a guy to throw them off.
It's weird. It's really weird. At some angles, it looks like a woman, and at some angles, it looks like a young male.
Yeah, I think maybe it was to play that. What do you think? Andy, you were going to say something?
I was just going to say it's a kind of shape-shifting, you know, before the modern age, and people are actually shifting their whole life into a new gender. The shamans would often do it as a way of shape-shifting. So
right, but I think
it's a way of hiding something. You know?
Right. So I think it's we're honing on that person, and that acting for that day is probably where we're really focusing on, as in this woman trying to act like a guy. And that's why this transgender energy, I don't think this person is a transgender. I think that person was faking it, trying to act like a guy. I really that was the hit that I kind of got Because, like I said, I don't think a transgender person would they have a lot more self-respect for themselves to be involved in anything about Trump. You know
But
what I mean?
the head person who's under investigation is a transgender woman. That's the reason that
The head person of what?
of the Trump, the woman that stole the computer from Nancy's office is a transgender woman. That's the problem.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Do people know her name? We can look it up. But
Jessica Watkins, Oathkeeper. Is that who we're talking about? Jessica?
yeah, former military man turned female.
Thank you, Book Bewitch. What's going on? I see you working hard here. What's going on? What's going on right here?
She also was meeting with Jessica Watkins, is transgender. Somebody says I'm incorrect. Incorrect about what? I don't know. Anyway, Oathkeeper, a leader of the far-right Oathkeepers group charged in the deadly U.S. Capitol riots, said she was in Washington on January 6th to provide. Jessica Watkins is transgender, yes.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on to another question that we may have.
So it's 1 o'clock. If people haven't had a chance to share,
okay.
subscribe, they can do so. But I think we have to move on now to. Are we moving on to celebrity gossip?
Yeah, let's go ahead and move on to some celebrity gossip and see what's going on there.
Well, actually, Sheila, it's the Matthew McConaughey story. People want to know if he's really going to run for governor of Texas and will he win?
All right, let's see. I thought that was like a goof. I thought he was just like trying to throw it out there just to be. But yeah, let's see if he's going to be. Riley Williams stole the computer.
Who stole the computer?
Riley Williams, that's what somebody says. Renee, she said Riley Williams stole the computer. Either way, that other girl is also.
Jessica Waite has alleged that she was treated very, very badly and that she fears for her safety.
Not Georgia, Texas. You're right. Texas.
Jessica Watkins, an Oathkeeper, was arrested in January and charged with conspiring to storm the Capitol. She has petitioned to be released from jail and from the courts consider home detention. Watkins believes she is at particular risk as a transgender female.
Okay, yeah. Jessica is the Oathkeeper, not the one that stole the computer. Okay, we're just getting it all correct. I love the chat. They'll keep us all correct. Poor. All right, so let's do the Matthew McConaughey and see what's going on with him.
Yeah, she served in Afghanistan. Wild.
Okay. Bye, Danny. Doing taxes. Thank you. Subscribe to Andy's channel. Absolutely.
The last thing I'd say about Jessica Watkins, according to the Business Insider, is that she personally trained the recruits to prepare for the attack on the Capitol.
Okay. All right. So Matthew McConaughey is a hardcore Trumpster. Matthew McConaughey?
Really? I didn't know that.
That's what somebody just said. Jessica Watkins is a transgender fan Oath Keepers that stormed the Capitol. Interesting. Okay. Hi, Cappy's mom. All right. Let's read on it. Let's read on Matthew McConaughey. I didn't think Matthew McConaughey is a diehard Trump supporter. I didn't know that. I'm learning something new every single day. I thought it was a poo. I thought it was like a goof, you know, like, meh. If somebody else has already did that, go ahead. I'm still shuffling. Ooh, it's a delusion. Go ahead, Andy. Go ahead.
Okay, right. Again, I don't really know what I'm talking about, but first thing, 3 of Wands. Okay, now, so this guy is expecting his ship to come in, but the fact is there's nothing he can do to affect what's coming towards him at this time. You know, it's game on, and it's too late for him to make any adjustments. He's cast his lot, whatever that means. You know, he's in Britain, we might say he's struck his matches. You know, he can't strike a match twice. So whatever's coming in is coming in for him. Queen of Swords, absolutely no nonsense. Someone just put in the chat there, please no more celebs and government. That would seem to accord with the Queen of Swords there. There's no pulling the wool over her eyes. If, however, he's got a really, really good plan and is really genuine, maybe. But I would say the Sword is going to just kind of cut his chances off there. And number 7, the Chariot. Now, another meaning of the Chariot that goes with the Tarot in Wonderland deck is the one I'm seeing here. Alice is trying to play a game of croquet using a flamingo and a hedgehog instead of the usual things. He's not the guy for the job. He hasn't got the right tools for the job, you know. But the Chariot, it is a journey. Something is actually happening. I can see him getting very close, but I really, particularly because of the 3 of Wands, I can't see him actually getting what he wants to get. I can't see him actually getting control. That's my 2 cents.
Do you already have yours, Whimsy? Go for it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Same thing. Waiting for a ship to come. To be honest with you, this is the dreamy queen, the Queen of Cups, rubs her lamp. He's an actor, you know, La La Land. I think that this is somebody who will lose interest. I don't think that this is the right personality for somebody interested in being involved in politics. I don't.
I tend to agree because if my first couple was delusion, like he's delusional, he's you know, in that fantasy land. Maybe I should, you know, like he can get in there and change some things. And but the people around him are really worried. They were like, oh no, no, I don't think you're gonna. So they're all worried that he might, because he has the strife and the argument and all that, and he's like, he would bring more discord than he would bring peace, because this is what the attraction is that they're tired of all the chaos and the stuff. Now that was unusual for me to get this card for Texas, because everybody, you know, Texas is Texas, but they're ready for peace. They're ready for the loving reunion. They're ready for a lot of that, because the fast movement in Met came right after that. I also got the Hierophant right after that. So it tells me that even the people who are in Texas, they're beginning to feel the pain and the strife and the arguments and all of that, and they want peace. They want somebody in there that's actually going to do good for them, instead of continue on with the whatever we've had for the last 4 years prior to Biden. So that's what I got for that. All right. So what else do we got? What have we got left? Was there any more celebrity gossip there?
Wow, that was so interesting. I mean, I'm just reading the comments and looking at stuff. I did look up a little bit more stuff about Jessica Watkins being denied release. Somebody had said that bomb-making material or information was found in her home. So who knows?
Oh. Ooh.
She could face years. A trans woman may face years, years if not decades in prison. Very serious allegations. Yeah.
Very interesting. Very, very interesting.
All right.
All right.
Second piece of information. I know people don't want to talk about the royals, but let's talk about being a sexist jerk. Let's take it from another perspective. Piers Morgan walks off Good Morning Britain, and Sharon Osbourne defended him. He's now been fired from Good Morning Britain. I tried to have stuff here that I thought Andy would give us a British perspective. What the heck is going on with Piers Morgan walking off Good Morning Britain, got fired, and why is Sharon Osbourne defending him?
Do you want me to throw on that or just comment?
Just let us know about the guy.
Discuss it, and then they want us to throw on. I don't know what they want us to throw on, but it is a celebrity question.
What do you think about it? I don't know if I want to throw on that guy, but go ahead. Tell us about the gossip. You being in the country.
Well, Piers Morgan, right, has been in prison before now, and he was involved in the kind of journalism that involved the death of Princess Diana. You know, where there were journalists just chasing her so much that she got in the car smash in the tunnel in Paris, and that's what the British press was like then, even though that they've had to change a bit. And Piers Morgan has actually been in prison for that kind of journalism. People like him are still valued by the UK press, the UK media, because they for some reason, they believe it's a good thing to just, you know, it's like the silly papers, the funny papers, you know, that they try to just take a completely whatever view they want to take, and they really then they won't give up or anything like that. And Piers Morgan, he's been that kind of journalist, and he's been that kind of editor as well. He was famously on a show, I think it might have been on CNN, I'm not sure, but he was talking about gun control with Alex Jones, and I had a good laugh watching Alex Jones arguing with him, as Alex Jones was really ranting at him something crazy. Why on earth Sharon Osbourne would get involved, I don't know. But let's face it, she's about the only person in the world who can cope with Ozzy Osbourne. And I'm not going to disrespect the guy because he's very ill now. But, you know, earlier in his life, wasn't he completely out of it, on drugs all the time? Didn't have any saying, you know. And somehow, you know, Sharon can kind of deal with all that craziness. So she's a good one for dealing with craziness. I'll say that. But Piers Morgan, I don't like the guy, to be quite honest. I don't never met him, but I just don't like what he stands for, you know. And I wouldn't take him seriously at all as a news commentator. He has the opinions he has to make sure that he's on TV or he's in the papers or something, you know, to big himself up. That's where he's at, you know.
Oh my gosh!
I think, I think it's like the jilted lover sort of thing. But it's just, I'm just so glad everyone's talking. This is an opportunity for us to all talk about racism, etc. So that's why I think it's important. Sure. So we're going to kind of switch things. I think now we're ready to move into the next phase of things, which is like we're going into the spiritual now. So we have a question from one of our viewers, Rose Bliss, and I thought it was kind of an interesting question. She said, when you are in a coma or on life support for a long period of time, where does your spirit go? Like, just to open this up as a discussion to people, does it leave our bodies, or is it trapped somehow? Where do we think people go in a coma state?
So, I actually have a little bit of experience on doing a remote with that. I had a friend that was in a coma, and people wanted me to sit there and make sure that she was listening to everybody's stuff. So as I'm sitting at the bedside of this person, and I had my hands on her arm, and I just asked, I said, Spirit, can you just let me know that she's here, if she's listening? And I got some very vivid pictures of of a spirit, and it's almost like their spirit, they let their body do what they got to do, and they leave the vessel, and they hang around. This is the exact same thing that got. Like, they hang around, they're sitting in the room, somebody else comes in, they're sitting in the room, but they are also going off and doing spirit work, and then they're coming back because their vessel, they could separate themselves from that vessel. And that was what the remote that I got. I also, my mother has dementia, full on dementia. And I also did a thing with her. Is her spirit is literally gone. My mother, as I know her, is gone. Her body is left. It's almost like they look at it and says, well, whenever the vessel is done, it's done, but I don't have to stay with the vessel at all times. And that was the information that I got, whether true or not or whatever, but that was the information that I got, that our spirits have a decision, has a choice to stay in our vessel or not to stay in our vessel. And our vessels can definitely live without our spirits in there. And that was one thing that I was like, whoa, because nobody, everybody always says once the spirit's gone, then the vessel dies. And that was not the information that I got. So take that for whatever it is. That was the experience that I got on somebody who has been in a coma.
What about you, Andy? What is your feelings about coma and what the spirit is doing in the coma state?
Well, I think of the silver cord. I feel that's the key to this. I don't, speaking as a medium, I don't tend to find that the soul has gone to the spirit world as long as the body is actually still breathing. I do believe that the soul can leave the body, though. I'm sure that's possible, actually. And I had a stroke when I was in my 20s, and I was, for weeks, I was in and out of my body, and I don't really remember what happened when I was out of my body, but I would have dreams that were real, technicolor dreams along the lines of hallucinations, nothing like what I would call a normal dream. I would go places all the time, and I believe it's a kind of astral travel, because it's been said that when the body is going to die, the soul is able to cross to the other side before all the pain, if it's a sudden impactful passing, the soul is taken before the body is actually gone, because there's no real need for the soul to experience the huge physical pain that goes with that. So if I think of my own mother, when she had cancer, she wasn't really there, but the positive side of that was she wasn't experiencing the pain at the end of it. So I don't actually think the body leaves I don't actually think the soul completely leaves the body, but I think that's one of the functions of the silver cord, so that the soul can actually be remote from the body, because people in comas very often report something like what we would call a near-death experience. And they have visions, that kind of thing. I've been somewhere close to that myself, and that's how I feel about it. But that I think is the only way the soul can actually leave a living body. That's my 2 cents.
Thank you, Andy. What do you got, Whimsy?
Wow. I mean, I don't think there's anything I can contribute because I don't have any personal experience with this, but it seems to me like the body goes into a kind of hibernation just to recover. And that just like in in the Jewish tradition, we say sleep is 1/60th of death, because you can enter into astral realms and other dimensions. So I assume when the body is shut down like that, the astral body you could probably visit other dimensions, the dream state, but that's what I would think. I don't know. That would be my interpretation.
Yeah, exactly. All right. I think we have hit to the stage where we have at the end here, where we have the questions. And my question today was, give us 3 of your favorite quotes. So I'm going to go ahead and have Whimsy start with her quotes.
Oh God, I had the quotes last night. The one that I think about is It is Mark Twain. It is better to be a fool than to open your mouth and remove all doubts.
Yep, that one's a nice one.
That was one. I have to think about it.
That's okay. We can
That
have
was the main one. That was the main one, but there were a couple of them. Let my mind wake up a little bit more. Ask Andy.
Andy, go ahead with yours.
Okay. Well, we're supposed to have 3 because I've got 3. Hope that's okay.
Yeah.
Shut me up. I talk too much. Just tell me to shut up.
No,
Okay.
go for it.
Right. Well, one of my favorites, and I've quoted this a lot of times in my life, is Gandhi, who said, freedom is not worth having if it does not include the freedom to make mistakes. And I think that pretty well speaks for itself. And I think that's very relevant to anybody in spiritual development, or actually anybody learning anything, because it's through mistakes that we actually, that we really learn deeply into the soul, you know, because particularly in spiritual matters, you're going to kind of not necessarily feel bad, but you're going to feel very kind of like that was a serious thing if you make a mistake. But it's going to teach you, and this is one of the great things about, you know, people sit in spiritual circles to develop. But it's true on all levels, really. I really think freedom is not worth having if it doesn't include the freedom of to make mistakes. Next one is, it's an old Doreen Virtue quote, and I know she's kind of jumped ship now. She's kind of gone in a completely different direction, but I'm sure she was a carrier of the knowledge at the time. And some of you might have heard her say this, actually. You are perfect, whole, and complete, and you do not need to add or take away anything from yourself to experience. I can't remember what she said then, but to be in the spiritual power. And I just love that, because none of us feel perfect, but we're all where we're supposed to be at this point in time in the Great Spirit's kind of scheme of things, you know. And what we see as imperfection is actually, again, is there to teach us. And finally, if I may, this last one, it's my favorite bit of wisdom that my grandmother ever gave me, and all I can say is it's a quote from my grandmother, wonderful lady called Margaret Hubbard, who passed in the late 60s. And her husband, my granddad, was a sailor, and she used to say, if there's enough blue in the sky to make a sailor a pair of trousers, everything is going to be okay. And that's a wonderful one, because the sky is so far away that even if there's only the tiniest bit of blue in the sky, if you actually could see it close up, it'd be like thousands of miles of blue. So, you know, there really is always a way that everything can be okay. And, you know, perhaps some kind of speaking in flowery languages there, but I love that saying. I carry it with me, and I believe it's a very true thing. So that's my 3 cents.
Cool.
Thank you. Whimsy, did you remember yours?
Oh, the other one I thought of was, don't do anything in private you can't admit to publicly. You know, like check yourself. If you're doing something and you don't want other people to know, maybe you shouldn't be doing it. Like, live your life as if everyone is watching, because somebody is. Your higher self, you know.
Correct.
Those
Got doggy drama here. Okay, go ahead. Did you have another one? Huh?
No, I said live your life as if. So now it's your turn.
Okay. All right. So here we go. So the 3 I have, the number one of my favorites, and it's my go-to for a very long time. I even had it on my desk for a long time, was that the best revenge is to have enough self-respect not to seek it. And I've always liked that, because I've turned my thinking around. To have enough self-respect not to seek revenge is the best revenge of all. And I thought that was beautiful. Another one of mine is, just when the caterpillar thought the world was over, it became a butterfly. That was one of my favorites too. And my last one, it's a little long, but this is from Mother Teresa. And it says, it's one of my favorite poems that literally changed my life the moment I heard it. It was the To Be Kind. It says, people often unreasonable, irrational, and self-centered. Forgive them anyway. If you are kind, people may accuse you of being selfish or have ulterior motives. Be kind anyway. If you are successful, you will win some unfaithful friends and some genuine enemies. Be successful anyway. If you are honest and sincere, people may deceive you. Be honest and sincere anyway. What you spend years creating, others could destroy overnight. Create anyway. If you find serenity and happiness, some may be jealous. Be happy anyway. The good you do today will often be forgotten. Do good anyway. Give the best you have, and it will never be enough. Give your best anyway. In the final analysis, it's between you and your God, higher power. It was never between you and them anyway. That's my favorite quote. So anyways, if anybody has anything else to say, I want to...
I'm an Aries. I'm all about creative revenge. Well, I always say the best revenge, like what's the worst thing that I can do, because I'm always thinking of ways to hurt someone to hurt me, because I'm an Aries, is, the best thing is to just get on with your life.
Absolutely. So it's to have enough self-esteem not to do it. And that is the best part about that. It is too much work, and there's no reason for it. And you just live your life the way you know how to live it, and it's irrelevant how somebody else thinks and what their options are for you. I used to walk around in my 20s, and I used to see the people who were like didn't like me or this, that, and the other, and I would look at them and say, "You don't have a voice here. You don't have an option here." And so I used to do that. So anyways, I hope everybody leaves here with high vibration. Thank you, Andy, for showing up. Thank you for being here. I hope that you get to come back again. I will always, as many of your lives I can catch. A lot of times I'm at work, but I try to at least stop by and at least say hello. And thank you, Dr. Whimsy, for always being here, for always having your input. And it's nice to have a professional here on this, and I really am very grateful for the remote viewing that you do. And I hope everybody in the chat has a wonderful, wonderful weekend. However, here in Colorado, we're gearing up to have feet of snow. So it's going to be a white weekend for us, and snowy white weekend for us. So everybody have a wonderful day. And does anybody else have anything else left to say?
We'll see you next week.
See you next week, people.
Yeah.
And we have Tanya.
I'd like...
Oh, go for it, Andy.
Yeah, I'd just like to thank you, Sheila, for having me on, and Whimsy as well for sharing this with me. It's been great. Thank all my friends as well. Some of my friends are in the chat there, and all the moderators, all the greeters. Just want to say thanks to everyone. Much appreciated.
Sorry.
I
was going to ask you, what is your sign? What are you?
I'm a Sagittarius.
Oh, love the Sages. Love the Sages.
Good sign.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, everyone. See you later. Everybody smile. Good picture.